You're listening to the Get Off My Soapbox podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We want to make the world a better place and share life-educated opinions and have discussions on various topics. Welcome your host. He is a jack of all trades, master of none, and always wants to know, how's your integrity today? Mad Morgan!
Hey, thank you for joining me for another Wednesday, another evening of Get Off My Soapbox podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Mad Morgan. You are joining me today on August 31st, 2022, and welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. So today I want to talk about life, death, the history of the world. This is our topic for today for Get Off My Soapbox. And I really want to thank you for being here. I appreciate you showing up for the longer episodes, the more detailed episodes. And I'm just going to let you know, we're probably going to be a little more, free-minded on our Wednesday night shows. Not so much research going into it, but more of just thought process, open thinking, trying to get some ideas out there, just trying to think outside the box and mind expand yourself and mind. But hey, remember one thing though, I'm not a licensed certified medical professional, health professional, psychological professional, anything like that. Anything that I am licensed and certified, I will let you know, but let's just stay on course with the grandfather clause of I'm not licensed and certified in anything. So just remember that moving forward. I'm just giving you my opinion from my experiences and from where I've been, from what I live day to day, what I've known from over the years. This is what I'm sharing with you moving forward. So just keep that in mind. Don't come back at me and say, hey, you said this. Are you qualified? I will let you know when I'm qualified. Otherwise, everything else is just an opinion. So with that, hey, how is your integrity today? How has your integrity been all week? It's been a week for those that have only showed up for our Wednesday night shows. How has your integrity been all week? Was it good on the weekend? Did you behave yourself? Did you be the change the world needs and set the example for others around and try to get people to change, to live life on the right foot, have some integrity, make the world a better place? Also, hey, please check out GetOffMySoapbox.com for more information on this show and, of course, our daily show of Soapbox Daily. Also, we keep adding to our FAQ section on the website. We have added an announcement with regards to Get Off My Soapbox. So please check that out. There's an announcement coming up with revolving around December 1st, and you get more details, of course, on GetOffMySoapbox.com. So other than that, please, I do enjoy feedback, comments, any sort of constructive criticism, anything that you want to share when it comes to our shows. By all means, head on over to Twitter, Mad Soapbox. You could find us on Twitter. And please leave comments on the shows. Give me your feedback. I want to know what you have to say. I want to know, what you're thinking. Also, what you'd probably like to hear moving forward. And I'm going to add, of course, more contact information to our website at GetOffMySoapbox.com. So you have other methods to actually contact me as well. I'd greatly appreciate that because I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear feedback from my listeners. So, I know where you stand when it comes to the show and things you like to hear and everything else moving forward. So let's get into today's show. And it's been a trying week. I had an upset today when it came to my regular 9 to 5. A colleague of mine that I've worked with for 8 years now passed away. And if you caught my show earlier on of Soapbox Daily, I talked about the medical institutions, healthcare, how I feel it's been overworked and they're overwhelmed. Healthcare professionals like doctors and nurses, healthcare workers, you name it, anybody that works in any healthcare or support, been really overrun, before COVID. And it just really shined the light on it during COVID on how bad it actually was. So yeah, this brings me to where I'm at now. And this is the first part of our show today, the life part. My colleague that I worked with for about 8 years had to have been maybe in his late 30s. And he died of complications with diabetes. And it really, 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 really makes me wonder how we're at 2022 these days and we haven't nipped these issues in the butt, so to speak. We haven't freaking got it down pat to figure out a solution. It's like the bottom line is the almighty buck. Treatment is profitable. Cures are not. And that's one thing that really pisses me off. Treatments. Eventually somebody gets sick of treatments, of having to do this test and this injection and that pill and this pill. But cures are not profitable because cures are a one-time thing. Treatment is profitable because it's a reoccurring revolving door of money. And it makes me really wonder about the value that rich people or institutions or businesses put on human life. It really is really annoying to see that we are not further ahead. It's almost like we were really advanced in the past when we turned to nature and we found cures by trial and error. And I believe we'd actually had cured stuff at one point, but then the almighty dollar became the ruling factor when it comes to the way the world works. And because of that, well, hey, we can't cure because then we won't have any more money coming in. So let's just put a little bit of the cure diluted just to keep them going so they keep on giving us money for the treatment. That way we have constant renewable income over and over again. I think that's pathetic in my opinion. How at the end of the day, with their big fluffy comfy pillow and their big mansion and everything else, they can live with themselves knowing that they are almost as low as a snake oil salesman trying to, peddle remedies that are completely false. I don't know how people can live like that. I really don't know how people can rest their heads at night doing that, knowing that they could cure people, but no, they rather just treat them. So other than, of course, the 1% or the rich and well-to-dos that really don't seem to care about human lives and only care about their own life. I mean, if life is so short, why do people waste it? Waste other people's lives and they don't care, they're selfish. But why does the individual waste their life? Not everybody. But there are those people out there that actually do waste their lives, waste it on intangible goals or unrealistic, expectations. They get involved in addictions, drug and alcohol. They do pointless stuff. They don't have goals. They live every single weekend to cause a ruckus or do the same repetition over and over again, get blitzed out of their mind and feel that they had a great time. And they smoke and they vape and they do all these things that they know are destructive to them, but they don't care because they're cool or it's socially, in the end thing to do. It's whatever. I mean, all these 1,000,001 excuses. And these people that do all this harmful stuff to themselves, it's almost like they've given up, but then they want to bring everybody else down. They want to bring everybody else down to their miserable existence and bring them down and swear and just be disrespectful and rude and just violent and all this. Okay, I'm sorry your life sucks, but there are the people who actually do want to live their life and not waste it. So if you want to waste your life partying and drinking and drugs and all that stuff, that's on you. Don't involve anybody else in your life. Don't involve anybody else into your chaos. I don't think any people want to have that. Because there are some people that realize that life has obstacles and they strongly believe that obstacles can be overcome. Those are the go-getters. Those are the people that don't give up because life threw them a curveball. Just because they've been diagnosed with something and they've been told that they have X years to live or X period of time to live or this or that. Given the odds, I have seen countless people beat the odds. A dermatologist actually has the most severe case of diabetes. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to let this stop me. He eats right. He watches what his body's telling him. He watches his diet. He exercises. He was training for a marathon during COVID. I mean, this guy basically said, you know what? I'm not going to stop living because of that. I'm not going to stop living. I'm not going to let this obstacle get in my way. I'm not going to let it take me down. I'm not going to let it stand in my way to what I want to do. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to take all the precautions. I'm going to do everything that's advised, and I'm going to actually move forward and live as much as I possibly can. And he's doing it, and that's great. But when I think of my colleague that passed away from what I can only assume is diabetic complications, I think he gave up. I think he was unhappy. I think he had too many obstacles in his life. I think he didn't turn to anybody for help. He kind of gave up, or maybe he was in a state of denial and he chose not to live right or watch his diet and watch what he did on a regular basis and play it safe and play it smart. I don't know what his reasons were, but you know what? I hope he's not suffering anymore. I hope he's in a better place. It's kind of an eye-opener when this happens, because the second time in the last 6 months that I've had this happen to me, a young mother with a young family, who I like to call a friend, passed away earlier this year. And that was really disturbing because young family, just starting out, young daughter, great couple, just awesome people. And she passed away from complications, which brings me, of course, to my next point when it comes to the medical institutions being overrun. And this is one thing that really bugs me. The medical healthcare, like healthcare, hospitals, doctors and nurses, they all need support. guaranteed they need more numbers. They need more people. They need more trained professionals. They need more people, more help, more everything. I think that governments and everything should make that schooling free of charge if these people sign promissories to work in the hospitals, in the cities that they get to training in, or in the countries that they get the training in for X period of time in order to pay back the schooling. This way it will motivate people to get free education and also help in the long run with the dire need in hospitals. And what I'm thinking is happening, because the medical institutions and hospitals are overwhelmed completely, I'm thinking people are just exhausted. Nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, you name it, everybody that makes those institutions run, I think they're just exhausted. And I personally think that things are being missed. Not on purpose, but just because everybody's overwhelmed. They're trying to put a fire out over here, trying to put a fire out over there, and things get missed. I find it very baffling that in 2022, which I would view as being medical conditions that should be curable or at least treatable on a profitary base because of, the rich, I frankly think I'm beside myself when I hear that people have passed away from these things. It really pisses me the fuck off. It really does. Yeah, I'm going to get a little bit cursive on this. And yes, this will be a rated E episode, but it really pisses me right off when I hear about people passing on because of these medical conditions. And I look back and I'm like, hang on for a second. Didn't we have a solution for this 50 years ago? Why are people still dying from this? How are people still dying from this? Have we not advanced in the last 50 years? Have we not moved forward that this is not a thing anymore? But yeah, it's still a thing. And then we have more things, now world pandemics and all this stuff. But it just baffles me that people are dying from these certain things. And I'm like, how is there not something for this at this point? And maybe there is, but our medical professionals are overwhelmed, overrun. They're trying to put out the bigger fires versus the smaller fires. But as I said, if you caught my show earlier on today on Soapbox Daily, you shouldn't only put this on the medical institutions. You should be taking care of your own health as well. You should be disciplining yourself, making the sacrifices, do what you need to do to stay healthy. I know I do. I do, because you know what? I want to live. I enjoy my life. I want to live forever. That's my goal. I want to live forever. If I can find a vampire, damn straight, I'm going to get bit. If I can become the Highlander, damn straight, I'm going to. If there's anything that I can do to actually live to see the next 1,000 years at least, to see if humankind can actually get their act together and straighten out, great. I'm going to do that. And I would love to do that, because I would like to see whether or not we figure it out. Because right now, we're not figuring it out. And we're going to carry this on in another show, but there was, get your tinfoil hats out for this, folks. But I honestly believe, and I'll be covering this more in depth in another show, I honestly believe the world took a turn somewhere. I don't know if it's CERN. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's aliens. But in the closing years after Barack Obama, and it's funny how the world puts everything on the States as being a benchmark, but in the closing years of Obama leaving office, it's like something changed. It's like we went into a parallel universe. And as I said, I want to cover this in another show. And where we're at now is just in that completely bad parallel universe. So back on track with this show, with this particular episode. The thing is that I'm baffled that people are having medical conditions like they are. And my concern is I have elderly parents that frankly have, like my dad has issues potentially, in the area of dementia, and that kind of concerns me. And COVID didn't help because lack of socialization and everything else. And this kind of bugs me, especially with the older generation, because they are going to need more medical attention. And I fear that they won't be able to get it when they need it, because the institutions are, I've heard of emergency rooms being closed. It must be very difficult for people that have taken a Hippocratic oath to treat people in the medical profession, and they have to lock the emergency room because they are so overwhelmed and understaffed. I bet that tears them apart, but I bet you it scares the hell out of everybody else. Seriously. There's a solution for every problem. Why are we not doing this? If anything, we should be focusing our priorities on what matters. All right. And the medical institution matters. It's important. We have to get the medical institution on track. We have to get more nurses and doctors and healthcare workers and security and support staff. all these need to be prioritized. Forget about all this other crap. It's not going to make a difference if shit hits the fan and we need people to be taken care of health-wise. We can't go through another COVID or anything close to it. We're already stretched thin as it is. We need to put the value on life, folks. Forget about the money. Just put the money aside. Don't care whatever expense it is, whatever country you're in. You tell your government, I don't care about the money. Just strengthen healthcare. Get the numbers, get the people, get the professionals, get people trained, get people educated. Let's get going on this one. Because there is a solution for every problem. We just have to make sure that we implement the solution sooner versus later. You've heard my episodes on climate change. That's a crisis too. That's a bigger scale thing that, if we don't take it seriously, we're all a bunch of freaking idiots. But right now, let's just look at healthcare. Another note on healthcare. I was in an emergency room a few weeks back with my better half. And she was just concerned potentially, heart issues or whatever, potential heart attack. She was just feeling those kind of symptoms. So we went in there. And other than the preliminary scans, we were still sitting there until 3 a.m. And that clock countdown, and this is a major hospital where I live, and the countdown was, hey, it's still 3 a.m, and the clock on the wall will actually have a timer that says how long roughly your wait's going to be. Another 5 hours. You know why? A little investigation. 1 doctor overnight. 1 doctor. 40 people in emergency room. 40 people in emergency waiting. 1 doctor. That's all they had. And this is a major hospital where I'm at. That made me sick to my stomach, to the point where we evaluated and went home and took our chances. And that's scary when you have to do that. Let's go home and take our chances. That's not something you want to be doing. But if you have no other solution, what are you going to do? You have no choice. All right, we'll take our chances. I mean, if we work together as one, we could solve even the mystery of death. And that's the other thing, working together. Value life as a species, as humankind. Value life. We could conquer even the mystery of death. Think about how much longer we could live if we had a sense of harmony and working together and stop trying to destroy each other and stop trying to take from each other and stop trying to outdo each other. If we actually work together, think about how much more we could accomplish. Because you got to think about this. You have somebody that's looking to better the world, whatever profession or field they want to get into. But they work so long and study so long. But the problem is they're spending all their money on education, so they can't really afford the best place in the best part of town. Well, just imagine that person who is working towards some innovation to help the world be a better place and taking steps to be, making the world a better place. They're destined to actually succeed in making great things happen. But because they're takers and the leeches and the vermin and the rats and all the vile people that have given up on life and themselves, they get mugged on the way home, or they get killed, or something along those lines. And that one selfish incident because somebody wanted, rob the person for drug money or booze money or whatever because they were sick in the head, robbed the whole planet, the whole species of what that person's going to do or would have done if they were still around. Think about that for 1 second. Think about people getting murdered and stabbed and killed and pointless acts, whether it be stupid driving or whether it just be selfish, pointless acts, and the victims. And I guess nobody stops to realize that one person that you were so foolishly doing this to, and it took their lives, could have been the solution to even your problems. Did you ever stop and think about that one for a second? Could have even been the solution to your own problems in your own life. Even if you were mugging somebody or robbing them for money, for medicine, for your family, because you actually wanted to take care of somebody other than your selfish needs. Think about that though. That could have been that one person could have been your solution to everything. But no, you decided to do a selfish act and you robbed the planet from that. Stop and think about that. And this is why when I focus on, if we all work together, stop hurting each other, stop being wrong to each other, have integrity, as I always say, then yes, you know what? We could be a lot further than we are, because there won't be people fearful to walk home at night. There won't be, people won't have to walk around in fear. They could focus on what they need to do in order to make the world a better place. They could focus on that stuff and have peace of mind knowing that their comings and goings from their education to their work, to their schooling, to home, to everything is fine. Like, it's absolutely fine. Like, there's nothing to worry about other than what their mission is, other than what their goal is. It would be nice to have that, but we all have to collectively get together and actually do this. Because if we do this, just think where we would be. So much further we would be ahead today if we did this a while ago. But it's never too late. We can still do it now. We just have to get off our collective asses and actually start cooperating and working together and being kind to each other and nice to each other and doing stuff that is meaningful. We're going to move on a little on this. When it comes to death, it's a scary thing. For some people, it's a reminder of how fragile life is. For others, there are people that run away from it. I remember years back when somebody passed on in my workplace, and the director at the time thought it would be a good idea to spam one of the chats we were using at that point, Skype, because he was really upset, but he wanted everybody to know and everybody to talk about it, and everybody to console each other and help each other out for everybody that needed support. And I was really, really shocked to see that there was a certain element of people that purposely removed themselves from that chat. They couldn't been bothered. Oh, somebody died. I knew the guy, but I don't care. Selfish acts, incredibly selfish acts. I mean, I couldn't believe how selfish that was, but it's just amazing that some people shy away from it, like they're in a state of denial. I mean, how did these people become so heartless? How did they become so heartless that it just didn't matter to them, that they just don't care about this individual that they've talked to, chatted with, and socialized with, and I couldn't be bothered to celebrate them, or I couldn't be bothered to remember them. I couldn't be bothered to talk to anybody about them. And some people, it's just the way that they deal with these things. It is, unfortunately, just one of those things that is part of it. There's the life, there's the death. We have to realize this. It goes hand in hand, right? I don't know. I strongly believe that every life should be celebrated. I believe that every life serves a purpose and can serve a purpose. I don't care where you're from, your creed, your culture, your origins. I don't care about any of that. Anybody can make a difference in this world. I strongly believe that. And this is why every life is precious. And this is why we should keep that in mind. We're not sure what they call it, the butterfly effect. If you go back and kill a butterfly in time, go back in time and kill a butterfly, the catastrophic impact it can have. It's the same thing with where you're at now. If you were to do something today, the impact would affect moving forward. And people just don't realize that. So, these people that just seem to shy away from death, I think maybe it's their own insecurities of not realizing that they could master death and they can master their own fate. They really can. Anybody can. You just have to be willing to make the efforts and the discipline. And beyond all that, also collectively know that while you're trying to live your life, other people are trying to live their lives, and have some empathy and consideration for that as well. It just baffles me that based on the clock on the wall and the calendar on the wall, where we're at 2022, that we're not further along, that we're repeating the same things from history. Why do people not look back in history and learn from the past? How do people overlook that? How do people not see where we've been in time? I mean, I know there's these woke people, and I know there's these, what do they call them? Like bury history people, getting rid of statues of mistakes made and everything. I mean, it's so stupid to bury history. So stupid to bury history. You think you're making any new discoveries? No, a lot of this stuff has already been done. Civilizations have fallen countless times. Rome has fallen, for Christ's sakes. You see what I did there? Yeah. So the thing is that you have to keep that in mind. These mistakes have already been made. You're not doing anything that's new. It's a rehash. It's a repeat over and over and over again of the same crap. You're not changing things. You're not being revolutionary. You know what revolutionary is? Where collectively, us 8 billion people decide that, hey, you know what? Maybe if we do something different, we'll get different results. Duh. Yeah. Not rocket science, people. If you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you always got. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I don't care what trendy word you give it. I don't care what fashionable thing is of the day. I don't care what social media calls whatever. These are not new things. But burying the past is not going to help anything. There's more truth to the history than there is anything else. You just have to keep digging. But burying it, tearing down statues, that's just stupid. Burying books, like burning books and getting rid of that's stupid. Yes, history is written by the winners or the victors. But you know what? Instead of tearing down these things that were put up as mementos, why don't you add a plaque to it and say, hey, by the way, yeah, this person did this that you see written here, but he was also an asshole. He did this, this, and this as well. Put the plaque side by side. Give both sides to the story. Give both sides the same coin and let people know. That way, people can learn from history. But we're selectively look back in history, and we don't seem to really learn when it comes to things, whether it be from the medical institution and medicine and cures and developments. We don't look, but we fail to look back at the social structure. We fail to look back at stuff that people have done and learn from them. It's like rehash because it's fashionable today. Oh, I'm the first person to do it. I'm just so extraordinary. No, they did it 100 years ago. They did it 200 years ago. Different time, different fashion, same concept. Learn from history, folks. Look back in history. Dig into history. Cross-reference. There's more than one source. On a variety of different things, you will find that it's a repeat. It's a repeat. In order for us to evolve moving forward, we have to stop repeating the past. You know, it's amazing where it becomes so difficult, where people just can't work together and value the life that we have, cherish the life that we have, take care of ourselves and take care of each other. Why does death have to be the thing that some people look forward to? It doesn't make sense to me. We can overcome so much if we just collectively work together, but we have to work together. This is why I encourage people to look where we've been and look at the things that we could have did better, or look at the things that we did do better and readopt them. Moving forward, technology is not our friend. We think it is, but no, technology is just making us lazy. We don't think anymore. We leave it to technology. You know, it was back in the 90s, there was a concern that AI would take over the planet with Skynet and Terminator. It's still a possibility, especially since we're turning over all our functions to technology. Think about it. Think about that computer in your pocket called a cell phone that you don't use as a phone, or hardly anybody does. Think about computers in your car. Think about technology that's integrated into every part of your life. Now, if you've ever experienced the internet going down in your city or your country, see what happened at that point. What did you experience? Oh yeah, ATM machines went down. I couldn't use my bank card. I couldn't do this. I couldn't make phone calls. I couldn't do all this stuff because guess what? Technology was all integrated into it. So go to a library. Forget about technology. Actually go to a library and look at books in print. That is timeless. It doesn't rely on technology. It requires you to go to a building. It should be a sacred building, which is called a library, and actually has stuff in print, how they used to do it for thousands of years. You put stuff in print and you can actually read stuff that is more true to fact than anything that you will find on the internet, because a good portion of what's on the internet is bullcrap. Not everything, but a good portion of it is. Or it's from the perspective of somebody's viewpoint, from their perspective and what they believe in, and it doesn't make it the truth. You really have to read between the lines when it comes to that, especially when you're looking into past histories or even modern day histories. But always cross-reference. And remember, the author is telling it from their viewpoint. Remember that as well. But be your own author, make your own judgment, make your own calls, make your own decisions. As long as you're not hurting anybody, nothing wrong with it. Just start using your brain. Don't rely on something else like your phone to be using your, doing all the thinking for you. That's not going to get anywhere. Okay. Now, to sum it up on this for this week, life, death, the history of the world. When it comes to life, if you're miserable, if you have problems on any scale, whether or not it be medical, mental, addiction problems, you name it, seek help. Please seek help. There are support lines. There's support out there. Seek help because life is valuable. Cherish it. You could be the next savior that makes the change in the world. If you have any issues or obstacles you're trying to overcome, believe it or not, you could probably be the one that makes the next change in this world that actually makes a difference. So it's important that you be here. So take care of yourself, take care of your health. Speaking on the topic of health, to recap on this, please, governments, if you're a government official, if you have anybody of influence, encourage governments to make free education for training into healthcare. Doctors, nurses, support workers, you name it. And also give support to the people in those fields that are already in those fields. Make sure you keep tabs on them for their mental state and their health. Keep tabs and make sure they're okay so they can do what they need to do. Also, please vet anybody that's in healthcare, that takes care of the elderly or takes care of the people that can't take care of themselves. Please double check their backgrounds on them and make sure that they're able, mind and body and everything else and emotions to be in that, because you have to be well balanced and in a very, very solid state to be able to do those positions because of the demand that's on you. But also you have to be the right person for it, because people are handing their every day over. And, you got to make sure that whoever's calling the shots there is not just doing it for the almighty dollar. I've heard horror stories on that one. So just give more support to your healthcare people, whether or not you're a citizen or just the average Joe, or whether or not you're a government official. Get some support for the healthcare. Get more nurses, get more doctors, get more people trained, get more people interested in the medical field, because we need that medical field. They are selfless giving people, and they're here to help you, but they need help too. So value life, but help those that help keep you living a good life and the best you can be and keep you healthy. As far as death goes, I believe we can overcome death. I believe we can beat death. I believe that we can live a lot longer than we do. And I believe death doesn't have to be something that happens, for stupid reasons. Be smart about it, people. Just be smart about it. Value what you have. Don't take the chances you don't need to. There's one thing to have bragging rights, but it's another to still go home at the end of the day and see your family and loved ones. So be smart about your choices. If you have issues, get help, please. Drug, alcohol, you name it. Just get. So bottom line is get help, please. And lastly, look into history. Look into history, folks. Look into the history. Get out the history books. Cross-reference. Dig, 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 dig. You will be amazed what you can find where we've already been in history. And you will actually see parallels from the past that still carry over to today. It's there. It's there. I've seen it. But you'll also find some more interesting truths out there that might just baffle you and wonder why these solutions to everyday problems have not carried forward. I'll give you an example. Do you realize 100 years ago they had electric cars? What happened there? Why did it take another 100 years for them to become mainstream? Just little things like that. You might want to look into that. Bottom line is the root of all evil, which is money. Yeah, I'll be going on the whole money thing when it comes to a lot of world's problems, because it is the root of all evil. Money is just what's burning this world. It is killing us on so many levels. We need to find a better solution. Okay. So with that being said, I did mention some announcements and stuff. Onwards and upwards. Yeah, I've made some changes to the FAQs on the actual website, GetOffMySoapbox.com. Please check those out. I will be adding more stuff as time allows and keeping busy. I still do the Soapbox Daily every single weekday, Monday to Friday. Please check us out, Soapbox Daily. Usually posted before noon Eastern time, New York time. Please come on by and check it out. Usually on average about 5 minutes. Sometimes we go a little longer depending whether or not we get on a rant. But yeah, please by all means check that out. We're going to be working down the road as soon as we get more Patreons and supports and possibly some sponsors. We're going to be working towards having guests, doing some collaborations. Going to collaborate with some other podcasters and some other either experts in certain fields or some celebrities. Who knows who we'll have some shows with, but that is our goal moving forward. We just have to get the foundation still. We've been at this a little over a month. We're still getting our name. People are starting to notice us. People are starting to recognize us. People are, come across our website or some of our social media sites and our platforms. We're on Twitch and we're on Twitter and we're on YouTube and we're on Reddit and we're out there. We're slowly but surely getting noticed, and we do what we can to put on a good show. So, we're glad and we appreciate that you're here, showing up, listening to us. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. It means a lot to us for the effort we put forward to bring this show to you each week. And, I'd like to know, feedback from you. I'd like to know what you want to hear about, topics you want to talk about, things you want to know about. Please let me know. Share your thoughts. I will, this week, I've been determined to actually put a direct email where you can reach me at. I'm going to put that on the website of GetOffMySoapbox.com. Also, hey, Twitter, @MadSoapbox. Be on Twitter. You can contact me there. You can post tweets on the episodes, give some feedback, send me a DM. Hey, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, it's been another Wednesday. It's been a trying week. I just found out about my colleague yesterday, so that's kind of bumming me out since yesterday, and I'm trying to get back on my feet. It's hard to realize that one day they're here, next day they're not. But, you just have to keep moving forward and value what you have. Cherish every morning that you wake up and make the most of your day. So thank you again for joining me. Please check out GetOffMySoapbox.com. Other than that, appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Join us next Wednesday for another episode of Get Off My Soapbox podcast. And hey, tomorrow morning we'll be back with Soapbox Daily. So yes, Get Off My Soapbox. It's going to be every Wednesday. Please join us next week. Thank you for joining us tonight. And for those that only listen once a week, I'll see you then. For those that listen to us every day, I'll see you tomorrow morning for Soapbox Daily, bright and early. Again, I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Have yourself a good evening, good morning, and good afternoon from when and wherever you're listening. And I will see you next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of Get Off My Soapbox podcast. Appreciate you tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from Mad Morgan, head over to GetOffMySoapbox.com for links and details. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow so you don't miss the next episode.